are you? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You sure? You know,
Yes, you are.
yeah. This is what we do. Some say we hijack portals, we hijack energies. But we simply use what's available to us. There's a analogy similar to what some people call energy vampires. Most of us up here with the Count Dracula, the energy vampire. They suck your blood. They come to suck your blood. Bite your neck and you become a vampire. You used to
Energy
want to be a
suckers.
vampire personally. But nonetheless, something more. There's this energy. There's energy of sucking the life force. And some people say that some people are energy vampires, but they just suck the life force. They love going around positive and bubbly people. So they just suck all that bubbling positivity. Then the bubbling positive person go home feeling drained, and the person that was there feels supercharged because they kind of usurped, took advantage of that energy. That's what we do with these portals. Generally speaking, when we talk about even starting now, um, calendar year, using Gregorian calendar year, we start with Resurrection Sunday. We end with uh, the giving from March or April to November. So there you have it. And again, that's why the art of sovereign living is good on Friday night because of the portal, the creativity. So yeah, and with that, first of all, let's say what is the art of sovereign living, and that's you know, feel free to type your message in the chat. Comment if you so will. Because as we discuss sovereign living, as was discussed in the write up, um, some look at sovereign living as doing paperwork, authenticate the birth certificate, capture the straw man, go to foreign situs trust. My person went down that rabbit hole, so now it's at a different um, level of understanding and integration and implementing a different level of sovereignty, what my person more so calls spiritual sovereignty. Spiritual sovereignty. So, before we get too far gone with our own philosophy and things like that, I guess, give a little brief moment for anyone to just throw in their idea of sovereignty. Even precious mother loves, and she's going to and fro around this camp here. So sovereignty, the art of sovereign living. So if we want to live sovereign living, live sovereign, we first must look at, well, what is being sovereign? What is being sovereign? What is being sovereign? As we let that ponder, marinate, breathe a little bit, we want to breathe a little bit to give thanks for this ceremony. This is Temple Mother Earth. We partake in various ceremonies, some with and without the sacred plants. So again, the space is 420 friendly, and this is ceremony. So we partake of this to open up to the depths of spiritual sovereignty. What does that look like? Specifically. So
That which the Dogons gave us.
that which the Dogons gave us.
Dogon said that is a um, herb that helps you to elevate, to move the monkey mind out of position and allow your elevation to occur with a connection to the higher sense, the higher self, the ethers. So um, it is from outer space to take us to a mindset that allows us to open up to that outer connection.
All right. Ashe.
Ashe. Let me see, do I have a connection to the internet on this other? I want to look up the actual, not necessarily Webster, but whatever definition that we can have. Let's see if I can. The breath. The breath. Now, what is it called?
Indeed, the breath. Soothing. It's just soothing. Soothing pleasures are the best. You see, soothe the soul. Just like cups there.
Soothing.
Soothing. Soothing. Have you ever been soothed? Anyway,
So maybe I can get on one of these.
the art of solving living, darling. What is this?
A password is needed.
Love to me, darling. It is love to me. Or love TOME.
Oh, okay.
Temple of Mother Earth or to me.
Acronyms.
Yes. Yes. See, that's why this is a perfect match, a good match for I admit. Because of the acronyms and the, what's it called, symbology, symbolisms, of Temple Mother Earth. As in Temple Mother Earth, there's a place. There's a building, Temple Mother Earth. Yet as a temple, it holds the same vibration, generally speaking, as a church. And, from certain religions, the church within. So what's inside, the temple represents what's inside. So this is Temple Mother Earth. This represents Temple Mother Earth as the physical body. Temple Mother Earth, the physical body is Temple Mother Earth. The place that we're transmitting from is Temple Mother Earth. The temple, that's again associated with the church, is the house of God. God dwells. So this physical vessel, which we call a temple, it's a temple. It houses God. And it houses also our spirit, the child of God, the spirit, the image and likeness of God, who we really are, is housed inside this physical vessel, along with God. There you have it, Temple Mother Earth. Place where God resides. So we come in the place. So this place is large enough so that we can come socialize with God on the outside. Otherwise, everybody be social with God on the inside, which we do individually. So from an individual perspective, we socialize with God on the inside, our individual home. Then when it's time to socialize with God on the outside, go to the temple where we know without a shadow of a doubt, because God's everywhere. God's everywhere. It's concerts, football games, basketball games, strip clubs. God's everywhere. God's everywhere. However, they're different. God manifests in infinite ways, so they're infinite frequencies, vibrations. So we're speaking on the temple as being a place where you may find the more higher, pure vibrations of the all of God. So here we are, Temple Mother, transmitting. Sovereignty, so what's happening? His mother land, but otherwise,
So I looked up sovereign, and it says a supreme ruler, especially a monarch. The emperor became the first Japanese sovereign to visit Britain. That's it being used in a sentence. It also says, a second definition says, a former British gold coin worth £1 sterling, now only minted for commemorative purposes. So that is a sovereign. Another definition for the use of the word, and it's for a coin. So it says it is an adjective using, so in a sentence it says possessing supreme or ultimate power. So sovereign is possessing supreme or ultimate power. So taking possession of your power, taking possession of your supreme power. and so in a sentence it says, in in modern democracies, the people will, in theory, will is in theory sovereign. So the people's will is in theory sovereign. So they are in possession of their power.
Okay, go back to possessing supreme what?
Okay, well, the next,
You
okay,
said you read it earlier. Possessing supreme.
okay. A supreme ruler, especially a monarch, and the other one says possessing supreme or ultimate power. That's the adjective when you use sovereign to describe someone. So then the very next one says one possessing or held to possess supreme political power or sovereignty, one that exercises supreme authenticity within a limited sphere.
All right, so we just put that typed in. That's the one.
Supreme power.
Yes,
Oh,
sovereign, possessing supreme or ultimate power. Ooh.
yeah. So sovereign living is you living in your power,
Yes.
taking the power upon yourself.
Supreme.
Self-governing. What's the other word for self-governing? And that was something that I remember. What's that man that was the black guy that was president? Obama. In one of his addresses, he talked about, what is that word where we self-govern? Is it autonomous?
Yes.
Yeah. He used that in one of his addresses, and it made me think, it was one of his first addresses. So it made me think that he was encouraging us to become possessed with our own power, to possess your own supreme power, which is the sovereign way of living, autonomous, self-governing.
What comes to my version is what's commonly called the Virginia May symbol. So let me pull it up and maybe do a screenshot or something. Say ancient symbol, what they call a dinkra.
The Adinkras, yeah. They're codes that if you put it into a 3D, it written on paper is 2D. But if you actually, I guess if you were to have it printed on one of those 3D printers, it apparently is empowered from it taking on that form. That is the way that code activates.
Say again, something about printing from something.
I was saying that the Indinkra codes or Adinkra, I think it's an A in the beginning. I always said Indinkra, or it's Adinkra codes. That they are 3D. When you put them into 3D, they are able to be activated so far as the power of the actual symbol is actualized when it takes on a physical form versus a 2D rendition.
So in other words, this is Ankh.
Is now 3D.
That's just 3D.
Yeah.
It takes on the power. The power.
Yeah, well, you have magnets on that one?
The 2D.
Does that one have magnets?
Yes.
Okay, so it's got magnets, and then it's got what crystals?
Clear quartz.
Just clear quartz?
That's all we
Okay.
need.
Yeah, because computers have crystals in them too. I mean, we have crystals. We talked about that on Soulful Sunday. And that's an interesting thing that, they actually find the crystals when we're cremated in the ash. There are crystals that are found within the ash, including potentially diamonds.
Okay.
So we are the stardust, and that stardust is, some of those crystals are part of that stardust. We're star people.
which comes back to sovereign living. That is ultimate power, which part of that, in my person's soul healing modality, the boat is intentionally, doing the so-called Kegel exercise or squeezing the sphincter muscle, the muscle you want to stop using the bathroom. In theory, what we're doing is we're sending pulses, which some may say primal pulse from the kundalini energy at the base of the spine to up the spine to the top. As it goes to the top, it hits that pineal, which is pressure, it applies pressure, which causes piezo electricity. So again, it's all part of the art of sovereign living. The art of sovereign living also comes with the science of self. But as we did find a company called the Jinya May. There's a picture of it here.
You see it?
Again, it's on the screen. We did the screen share. And so, does it say something there? What does it say? Okay. One common interpretation of this symbol is the omnipotence of God, the omnipotence of God. Another interpretation is accept God, implying accept God. There's no one higher than you except God. So other than God, you are sovereign. Only person higher than you is God. So that's how my person looks at the sovereignty piece. Again, it comes back with this symbol here, the Jinya May, the omnipotence of God, or, accept God. There's no one higher than you, than God, which is another reason why when speaking about sovereignty, um, in one of the simple perspectives, let's take this down, remove this. And a more simple perspective, the Constitution, which may be looked at as a trust, it provides, some may say it's written right there, freedom of religion. And so, even from a simple perspective of operating from, there's no one higher than you except God. So if the only one that you subscribe to, that you listen to, that has power over you is God.
Mm.
So if your life and or lifestyle is a religion, if your life is one to bring you closer to this God whom you work and serve for, then everything that you do is from a sovereign perspective, because you're doing it because you work for God.
Mm.
Working for God, you're sovereign. Only thing above God is sovereign. So,
Well, that's ideal.
from that Constitution perspective, freedom of religion, and from the definition that was read, the summation was possessing supreme or ultimate power. And if we say, look, for example, we use the word God, we may get able to break that down at some point, really, for real. But for ease of conversation, when we say God, the unconditional love, aspect of source, we just say that, that part of source that just it emanates and exudes unconditional love because of the awareness of everything is connected. So that's what we're calling God. Give a little bit of specifics to that. And so we're saying this God is possessing supreme or ultimate power, and that's the only thing higher than us. And if we are a child of God, which added another dynamic to it, as a child of God. So at some point, uh, we should become a God. And
That
if
is the
this is
aspiration.
God's characters of God, possessing supreme or ultimate power, and as a child of God, And the only thing above us that has the only thing above us that has this, only thing above us is God, that has the power. So we are sovereign as a child of God. So the only thing that's above us is our mother, father, God. As a and then at some point, as a child, we grow up and become a God, an adult. So then, use this example before, this analogy before, not a lot, but it goes back to the analogy of as a child, in the Bible, as a child, I spoke as a child, things like that. When I became a man, or when I became an adult, I put away childish things. Something in the Bible, Christian Bible also says about meat, uh, going from milk to meat, from milk to meat, you know. And so one of the analogies that come up with that also, the third one is that don't question God. Don't question God. Don't question God. Don't question God. So all these things, uh, from a certain perspective, they tie together. Don't question God. As a child, I thought I was a child. Didn't put away childish things. And the child is on the milk, the adult is on the meat. So the reason why you don't question God, because even growing up down south, there's experience of grown folks talking, you stay out of grown folks' business, keep your mouth shut. A child should be seen and not heard. So if a child to be seen and not heard, a child's place, stay in a child's place, stay out of grown folks' conversation. And then when we transfer this to a child of God, hence, you won't understand God. No man knows God, because stay out of grown folks' conversations. However, as a child of God, once the child grows up, once the child grows up, growing up, then, now if your folks smoke and drink, if you didn't smoke and drink with them at an early age, because sometimes down south that does happen, you kind of start off early, not all the time. A lot of times it's when you get older, and even growing up sometimes, even though they may know you do it, or you may want to keep it a secret, you know, for a long time. They smoke, you smoke, but you never talk about it. And then one day you may leave something out, or something, may come home a little bit too, they notice something different or smell it. Then they find out, but still don't talk about it, you know. So that's that separation there, that happens all the time between man and God, you know. However, and at some point when the child is, well, and 18 or at least 18, generally speaking, or well into the 20s, if the conversation isn't had, it just starts. It just starts, You just sit down, you line up, say, "Hey, mama, hip hop's, here, whatever. Or take a sip of this, or I got this, or it just kind of happens that way. So then again, that analogy of as a child being in the child's place is staying in a grown folks conversation. At some point, when the child grows up, the child is having grown folks conversations with grown ups. So the same thing with God, the possessor of supreme ultimate power. Don't know the mind of God, but the more that we mature, you know, spiritually mature, then as a child of God, we become a God, and as a God, we commune with God and have godly conversations. So then it's a different way of being. And so now is this godly conversations. You're communing, having conversations with the only one who is above you. And so if he's the only one above you, or she, or he, or she, either it, So then where does that leave us, all of us, on a day-to-day basis in our experiences in life? You know? Wait a minute, hold up. We had to add you to the screen. You was off the screen. Say that. What's that question again?
You were speaking on the as a child, you have milk. As an adult, you have meat. And I know a lot of times people will refer to themselves as a child of God. What about, is there a difference when you say man of God, or are we always a child of God? But I guess it's like when you're a parent, you're always your parent's child. But at some point, you become an adult. So, like, you can have the meat and stuff, but do you curse in front of your mom or your dad? You know, you can do these other things you said about, but the respect is adult to adult, maybe. How about that? So at that point, if you're a man of God, you're what? Can you help me with that?
Well, it's a general analogy because every relationship is different. However, generally speaking, yes, a child and a man is different. You know, generally speaking, the child is the youth. The child is less mature. You know, a child, and they say needs guidance, needs instructions. You know, a child, needs to be taken care of. You know, in fact, some say, from some perspective, a man's responsibility is to take care of the women and children. So the man of God take care of the child of God and the woman of God from a certain perspective. So there is a difference in the man and woman, man and child, generally speaking. And so, however, because again, the philosophy of yes and no, even the man of God has a child in it because there's no separation for real, for real. It's just the maturation. It's just that now the child that's very connected to God and is innocent, non-judgmental, creative, vibrant state, always is in God's state because it has listened and been obedient. It now cultivated the relationship, and from his own experience, now has cultivated what's called wisdom. Because every experience it sees as a lesson, a blessing. As a child is curious. What did we learn from this experience? And cumulative, with enough, because experiences are infinite like God. Once we have enough experiences and we begin to put together some pieces of some laws and principles about energy, and we begin to see how they work and use them in such a way that we're in line with them, with what we wish to do, which is if it's to be a more reflection of God, how to be more unified, how to bring more peace and harmony and balance, and to any and every situation, how to so-called healing the world, or healing the nation, or healing the people, starting with self first. All of those things. Um, the
Using your
man
wisdom.
understands the plan, right, on what it takes to do this, and is doing it again out of it ain't no stress, is pure joy and creativity. Because inner child is focused. It's like we're doing this, we're building this, we're creating this, and so that's the integration of the child of God to the man of God. The child is still there. It's just now the man of God has a different level. Is the man is not being taken care of like a child. The man is doing the taking is doing the caregiving. Yeah.
Okay, okay. But can I also add that at that point, they're also using and applying the wisdom that they've been able to accrue or accumulate into adulthood.
That's the process. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Welcome to Heart Happy Hour. I'm Precious Mother Love, and you also are here with Master Chef, High Priest Master Chef. We are at the Temple of Mother Earth, and today we're talking about the art of sovereign living, what it is to be sovereign, and the mindset of the lifestyle of living sovereign. So, welcome to Heart Happy Hour, Season 5. Ashe.
Acheo.
Mhm. Ooh. So we started off with drums, bringing in the ancestors. And I've just one quick thing I want to. I think I made a comment to you about it before, but in the sense of what was recently presented, I'd like to share and ask for your comment on
Hmm.
when, and I don't know how this relates to sovereignty, but I'd like for you to find the connection. So, it's said that the melanated man was part of the original people. The picture, the painting, it's a copy of the painting that Putin gave to his one of his highest war commanders, highest military commanders. So he gave him a picture of, and the reason why this came to mind is I'm looking straight in front of me as a picture of a child, a brown skinned child. And so I'm just relating it back to uh, he presented it as was presented back in the 1800s to his, the Russia presented it to their major, whoever that warhead or what do you call them, military, uh, the supreme military person in charge. They did it back then. He did it this time. And what he did this time was made public, which is a copy of a painting of a brown skinned baby and a brown skinned mommy. It was a black Madonna and a black Jesus or Mary, or what are the other names for Jesus? Yeshua?
Yeah, yeah, Yeshua, Jesus, Aru, Horus.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And Horus is who gave us time. Um, so what are your thoughts on that? Is there any way that we can relate the way that we think? Does that motivate us at all? Is that a motivation for us to think, okay, yes, we are descendants, our DNA, it is clear from the visual portrayal that we are originally of, God is we're descendants of, Jesus and God, and we have, we're remnants of their DNA. So, what did you say? No one is above us but God?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So, but God is of no color, though. Would you say?
Right, and
God
God
is
is on
an
the
it's
inside. That's it.
it's
God is
an
on the
energy.
inside. Right. So that's and so yeah. As far as that gesture, it is a beautiful tool, motivation, inspiration, education for those who may desire it. The thing is, we're all on different levels. Some have been waiting for just something like that to boom. Just like some people waiting for the fucking aliases to pop up again at the White House. They did it before this. They said it was on tape. Some people waiting for them to pop up again and be like, oh yeah, see, I told you it was true. But yeah, some folks already know they're true, know and already been communing with them. Like some already understand who they are vibrationally, and reminding other people that they are it. That you're it. See, I admit it, and so are you. So some of us are already there. Some
Yes,
of
you
us
are.
need
Yes,
it,
you are.
and then some will be like, "Oh, it don't mean that. No, it is still they still ain't ready for it." So it just depends upon where someone is. That's just how life is. Creation is. Everything is here for us for our either evolution and or enjoyment and or de-evolution and or enjoyment.
Okay. That reminds me of a joke. Okay, so there was this lady, and I just saw it yesterday. There was this lady, and she wanted to celebrate. It was her birthday. I think she was like 80 years old or whatever. So she decided to go to a nice hotel or, just to take in a hotel for the night and revel in a comfortable bed, get a good night's rest, whatever else. So it comes time for her to check out. The next morning she enjoyed her good night's sleep. She goes to the desk and it's time to check out, and they give her a bill. So the bill is high, and she's like, "Well, why is the bill so high?" And so the clerk says, "Well, that's the standard price, but we actually had a Vegas show, for you to partake of. Did you catch the Vegas show last night?" And she says, "No." And the clerk says, "Well, you could have." And so, how about, we have also free breakfast, did you get some breakfast before you came down? And she says, "Oh, no, I didn't." And so the front desk clerk says, "Well, you could have. That's included." And so he says, "And then, it's a free newspaper. You get a free meal ticket for during happy hour." And she still says, "Well, did you partake of those things?" The clerk asked, and he says, "No." She says, "No, I didn't." And so she says, "Well, look, I want to speak to your manager." So the manager came, and the clerk had already told him, this is what's going on. And so he came and says, "Well, ma'am, we're a 5-star hotel. We request top dollar because we have." And so, he looked around and he says, "We fly in the finest flowers, and we have the head chefs in our kitchen, and all that kind of stuff." And so the manager says, "Did you take a picture by the flowers? Did you go taste the chef's food? All these things that were there for you, And so she says, "No, I didn't." So she says, "Okay, I tell you what, I'll go ahead." And so she started writing her check, and when she finished, she handed it to the clerk. And the clerk says, "Ma'am, this check is for $50." And so I thought you were, ready to pay. And so she says, "Well," she says, "I charged you for sleeping with me last night." And he says, "Well, ma'am, I didn't do that." And so she says, "Well, you could have." So it makes me think of all the things that God has to offer that are included with the price, all these beautiful offerings and presents and gifts. But are we partaking of them? Well, you could have. So, I don't know if I told it in the funniest way, but the giveaway is that we have the amenities available for us as a part of the cafeteria plan of selection. But are you selecting it? That's the thing. What are you selecting on the menu of what God has offered us in the way of the powers, the codes, the dots, the I's, the T's, all they say the devil's in the details, but God's in the details. So devil and the God. Oh, wait a minute. The devil and the God. It's all energy, and it depends on what you do with the energy that makes it good or not good, right? So, but anyway, yeah, the God is in the details.
Even the good and not good is still subjective.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, and the God and the devil. Some say is the yin and the yang.
So that's the whole thing. I think maybe we have the opportunity to share what's on that cafeteria plan. I'll be very honest that until I knew, I knew that I could do certain things had become obvious and clear to me throughout my life. The power of the tongue, the power of suggestion, the power of many different things that influenced my path. I could find how powerful I was in those things, but it had not been brought to my attention of being able to self-govern. It was more of a kind of, the trial and error. Do I get in trouble if I do this, or if I try this and I get in trouble, then, you have to curtail your behavior in certain ways, either hide it if it's, something you really, really want to do, or do you just do it anyway and like, well, hey, dare somebody to say something to you, and I want to say that's similar to like as a child, how I grew up. Excuse me. I would go to places that were public, and people in certain public areas would be doing things
Places
that were illegal.
you would go to places that was what?
Huh?
Missed that. You would go to places that were public.
I can't see. I don't know what that word is. Bollock?
No, that's what we were asking. What was said? What did your person say? What did you say?
Oh, no. I was just saying that as a child and as a youth growing up, how I would see people in public
Uh-huh.
do things that were illegal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. In
Okay.
particular, you're not supposed to drink alcohol in public, but you'd see people out doing that. You're not supposed to smoke weed or marijuana out in public, but people were doing it more so then than they did during the period when it was highly criminalized,
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is that to self-govern, as an adult, I started learning what that meant more so, like how to self-govern around, including the parameters that whatever they set, but operating under my own, you know, approvals, my own authority. So, certain, people in their own homes, they'll do certain things that they won't do out in public. You know, it's still illegal, even if you do it in your home. Yep. I'm saying like, whatever it was that someone might be uh, trying their hand at. Maybe in some cultures is, or in this culture, actually in the U.S., you can't touch a dolphin.
Right.
You can't interact with a dolphin. There's a variety of things that are on the books that say that you can't do these things, but people still do those things. So that's part of that. What I think is the self-governing part. Like you become the authority for yourself, regardless of what the law of the land per se might be, or maritime law, whatever it is.
Yes. That's the philosophy of I am it, and that's the principle behind the art of sovereign living. You self-govern, you see, because I admit, embrace certain laws of the universe, commonly called the Hermetic principles, and what some people may call karma. In the streets they say you get what you ask for. You get what you ask for. Karma. You get what you ask for. So these types of things allude to the law of correspondence. And so we get our vibration, what is there. And so by having these awareness of the laws, in a sense, how creating the life, the experiences, the world that you like. And in fact, that's the whole idea behind, in this pure sense, sovereign living is creating the world that you desire. Because there is the world, and if the world isn't operating that resonates fully with one, then you have the ability to create the world that you desire. And with that world that you desire, the awareness of, okay, self-governing. In order to create the world that I would like to be, which is a soul. This soul would like this type of world. I would like this world. This soul would like to experience this type of world. Then one ideally should have to self-govern oneself for that process because of the dimension that we're in now. And this dimension that we're in now is more of that what they call the 3D dimension, which is more specifically time. It's linear, seeds grow, seasons of growing fruit, growing crops. If it's a rainy season or a drought season, affects how much food is produced, in some places, a lot of times, how much food costs. So the rainy season and dry season, the season, because we're in time and space, affects, generally speaking, humanity's ability to eat, either have an abundance or to have scarcity, as opposed to a dimension more like a 5D where everything is instantaneous. So there's no need to wait for food if we want to eat it all because it's instantaneous. And so again, tying in the 3D dimension, this time shit, you know, with self-governing and sovereign living, creating the world that you desire. And this time thing, maybe summed up as discipline, a disciple,
Wow.
or initiate.
Okay, I have a comment about time
Yes.
because, I did a long segment about time. I talked about CP time or PC time. I talked about uh, time and, there's no time in space or there's no time in the ethereal. It only applies where there is, a 3D, that dimension. But, to me, CP or PC time, because it really means the same thing, when it feels right, the time is right for that. So to me, I'm having a little bit of, because, if my time is my own and I get to make my own schedule and, I make certain commitments to other people, to myself, to, certain appointments and certain places and things, some things I'm able to motivate and move myself to the place where the punctuality is easy. And then other times I'm in the position where my own timing kicks in and it's not governed by, it's like what triggers the actual movement is not motivated by the pressure of a deadline, so to speak.
Right.
Even though I might say, before it gets dark, I want to do this, or before the end of the week, I want to accomplish that. So I'm finding that when time is my own, where I get to make those choices of, what's going to fill that time for me, that period from wherever it is that I'm allowing myself to have that freedom,
Uh-huh.
it gets it once I'm in that flow for a good period of time, it's not easy to go back to adjusting to being a, convincing myself to be concise with these other times and like if something closes by 5 o'clock, a lot of times I've had it happen where I don't think of it until it's 4:30. And, it's like, OMG, now all of a sudden there's a mad dash to get to that deadline. Or even if I knew about it way in advance and, I'm still on my time trying to, gather myself, do whatever is required for me to remove to have everything that I need to walk out the door. So I'm finding that, I'm having to find new things to motivate myself, new things to give myself permission to take the time to be, to feel like it's the time to move, so, and to, and that feeling be in time with whatever I don't want to say just say commitment, but the parameters, whatever the parameters are of the time that, I'm now having to contend with to move towards. You get it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the art of sovereign living says, whatever works for your being. If that way works, I mean, that's it. That's it. You know, I, or if it may just need some tweaking, then it's like, okay, it works, but we can tweak it a little bit because it could be a little bit better. Or the other thing is like, we operate like that, but we may need to rethink this because sometimes it presents challenges. And so my person doesn't not sure which way it falls, but that's what the art of sovereign living is about. That says to ask these questions of self. First of all, to be aware of how you operate. Then as you operate, and then say, okay, this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is the flow. Then to say, okay, how we feel about it. So that's you know how do you feel about it?
Right.
Yeah. Is it that's that prescription that came from God from the inside? Or is it like, we've been operating like this. It may have been a little programming that says we should, again, it's so general that she wait for her return. It's for anyone. This is sovereign living. Again, the art of sovereign living is being able to choose which way from the infinite possibilities, the infinite ways, and resonates with your beingness. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So again, this is the art of sovereign living. We have about 20 minutes or so before we officially end. The time is from 6:30 to 8:30. And again, as we transition and begin to, wait for Precious Mother Love to arrive back, this is maybe a little commercial break. What's that?
I'm waiting. It's like one of those spinning guys.
Okay, so yeah, a little commercial break. We are live, broadcasting live from Temple Mother Earth, 2415 32nd Street, Southeast Washington, D.C. If you're ever in the area on a second or fourth Friday evening, come on through and set a spell, sit down, let's reason a bit, chop it up, have a ceremony, on the art of sovereign living, the art of sovereign living.
So one of the wellness family, I'm gonna stop my broadcast and just complete with the singular broadcast because I do see we have some overlapping because it starts where I was at. I want to come where the light is, so I'll see you on the other side.
I'll see you on the other side. One Love and Wellness, Heart Happy Hour, Season 5. Precious Mother Love in the house. I think you can see. Let's see. There he is. Do we see you? Why am I
Yeah,
in the way? There you are.
yeah,
Okay.
toodles, toodles.
There you go. Okay. Ashe, one love. And definitely tune in the second and fourth Fridays of the month where we'll be doing the art of sovereign living. And yes, we both live sovereign lives. It's a lifestyle. Ashe.
J.O. Yes. Well, the art of sovereign living. Mm, yes.
It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. The way you think.
Yeah, just to touch on the paperwork, says some say the paper terrorist. My person was known as a paper terrorist. My person has many hats now. The daggone, what is it? The spokesperson for IMID's Nation Tribe, the founder and dean of the Indigenous Cultural University, which serves as the masculine and the intellect of IMID. He is also a co-founder and chief practitioner of the Collective Health Initiative, which serves as the creativity and the feminine of IMID. And also the organizer for I Am Indigenous Aboriginal Ministries, which is the offspring from the masculine and the feminine. Yeah.
I'm one of the original signatories of the IMIT movement, part of the voting committee, but also part of the IMIT ministries as well. I am ministries. IC graduate. What else did we do? Sarah said, what is the group Portage? The Sovereign Group. Knights of, what is the Taj Group?
Taj Group, that was like Army made publications at the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it takes time to, well, let me just say this. When we initially received the information from, all these different resources we were getting information from, little bits and blurbs, but when I finally got the opportunity to allow it to sink in, I experienced something like in the Matrix movie. In the Matrix movie, they had, he was being fed this oatmeal. And he was told that it was going to give him a gag reflex, because he was eating, his body was beginning to process something, but it was while he was within this other dimension. And so as he was processing it, he ended up being discombobulated, somewhat of, and I don't know, I want to say what I know I felt was a vertigo. And the reason why I compare it to me is because once I was realizing the truth, once it was digesting, once I was able to ingest some of the value of the words that were being spoken or the information that was being fed to my mind, it was discombobulating. It rocked my core. It made me really feel like I was being, like I had been through, this, stuff got wavy. and it was high seas, and the waters were very tumultuous at that point. So for me, and I don't get seasick. I was in a horrendous storm one time in a fishing boat, and it took everything I had. I did eventually succumb to what was, you would call it, seasickness, but it was also carried on into land. And so I ended up with an extended version of, it took me some time to pull my core back together. So when this happened, I had to sit down for a period of time and pull myself back together. It's as though, I had the foundation of what I had grown a lot of my um, parameters around, the things that were some of my limitations. It's as though that, they tore my foundation with those words. It was not an easy um, process. It was definitely something that was of deep value to me, uh, having to reevaluate from the depths. of my, the things that you base your faith on, the things that you have faith in, you know. My view of the Bible changed. My view of man's words changed. My view of what reality is, because it began to become more and more clear about the hologram, energetic, the how this matrix slash grid is, you know, it's the stuff that fantasy movies, or what do you call that, comics, what do you call that the comics are called, um, not fairy tales, but anyway, it's the stuff fairy tales are made of, and
Fiction,
once what the comics and fairy tales are in the same
cartoon,
group of the word that I'm looking for.
fairy tale,
I
fiction,
said that. I said that.
fiction.
But yeah, but
That kind of thing.
it's to me as though once you are aware of the energies that are you can manipulate energy in so many different ways, but you don't even know that these energies are manipulating until you know that they are, and then once you know, you can't unknow. But that the fact that you know and begin to know, how the Latin, which is a dead language, is what legislation is based on, and so it does not govern the live; it governs the dead. And so, for us to be able to claim the life of this corporeal, they're saying you're a corpse, and
Mhm.
corporations or corpse, that's so, I'm just saying that once you recognize you can bring life out of these words, the power of life and death is in the tongue. And so much so that, that this throat chakra, which is the beginning of what they call the upper room, or that area which is uh, dedicated to the higher sensitivities, or um, the spirit realm, or the ethers, or whatever the higher elevated energy is. I just think that it's very enlightening for us to tune into the facts that that A B C D E F G, A B C D E F G, H E G. That's French. And you know Spanish?
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? I'm not
Oui,
French.
j'ai pas envie de penser. No, I would not like to have fun with you tonight. Please.
We having fun right now. What are you talking
She
about?
say ce soir tonight.
The art of
But yeah,
sound living
no,
says
I'm
we're
just
having fun
saying.
right now. That's the whole idea.
We are. We are.
So
Thanks.
God, everything is
How did I just that was
orgasmic. Everything is orgasmic. Yummy, yummy. So God, sovereign, baby.
okay. Okay, I'll choose to be agreeable some kind of way. A disagreeable version of Mother Love came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's because I had thought of that record as being so taboo, and it to me was like a prostitute talking to a man. So to me, when you talk back to me, you were the man talking back to the prostitute. So I was responding back like, "I ain't no prostitute, dude. Don't even talk to me like that." But you didn't know that what you were saying would be offensive to someone who's not a prostitute.
Yeah. So disclaimer going forward, we're going to speak more about this disclaimer because we have to. Um, as you mentioned about the words, some people say the English language is a bastard language. It's a bastard
Oh, it
language.
is.
It's a dead language. It takes you away from who you are. Blase, blase, blase. The art of sovereign living, and as a soul healer, I invent all this other shit. We say, okay, well, and you say, well, let's enliven. First of all, let's enliven the language.
Hmm.
Let's choose words that's familiar, arrange them differently, and
Mm.
have a different rhythm, and all this shit like that to go with that. Yeah.
Like, what was that being? Old Obi-Wan Kenobi. He says, "Enjoy yourself." You do, or he would put a question to it, or you know.
Right. And one of the ways, also, my person chose to have Gemini rising this incarnation. Gemini is about communication. Rising, that's the first house. The home of that house is Aries. Aries is the home. So my person's Gemini acts like Aries.
Mm.
That's the rising sign. Your rising sign, it acts like Aries. Whatever it is in the first house, it acts like Aries. It shows up, baby. What's happening?
Okay. So the first house is the Aries energy.
You're right. Uh-huh. And it's tinted by whatever sign is there. If that Aries there, you at home. Because that's Aries, you at home. Man.
Aries.
Everybody else, you playing a role. This motherfucker Gemini acting like Aries.
Mm. Climbing mountains and setting goals
Right.
high at the top, putting your priorities in place.
And on both sides, it's Gemini. And communicating that shit both sides.
That's why you say so much of it's yes and no.
Yeah. And this is we're reminded as a reminder to humanity the essence of creation. Hence the yin yang symbol. Yin yang, niggas yes and no at the same time. So we choose.
And there's a dot of each in each. So
that's why it's the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And so what you're saying about this journey is likened to a psychedelic experience. Another shout out to Tell Mother Earth. Because right now, this event is 420 friend. Again, it's the second and fourth Fridays. Come on through, slide through, baby. Bring your own bud. Ooh.
Well, with these cannabinoid receptors that we have, which I didn't hear about until I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson, the guy who is the what is he, astrophysicist, and he's black.
He's something. He's out there.
He's extremely tuned in. Regardless of his racial background, I dig the way that he goes into things. So, but he says that we have. He brought on this pot doctor. Her name is Stacy something or other, and she says we have naturally cannabinoid receptors. So we were built for this stuff, to elevate as the Dogons brought to us. There's something in us that's already tuned into it, and they tuned into that, putting that in place for us. But I apologize.
Yeah. So with the language, the other side of the level, we enliven the language, right? And of course, we do that by the words that we speak. And I also wanted to share a little bit about the throat chakra. This is from the Soul Healer hat. The gateway, in a sense. In fact, the planet that correlates with throat chakra in the boat is Mercury. The deity in the couple of indigenous traditions is Sebek or Elegua, which in both traditions, Kemet and Yoruba known as the way opener. And from the throat chakra down, from the throat chakra, which is the fifth chakra, relatively speaking, down to the root, the first chakra, from 5 down to 1, have an association with emotions. And yes, and the top 2 is no emotions. And so, generally speaking, throughout communication, the life and the death, the more in line with our beliefs, as in speaking our truth, that our communication is. Communicating what we believe, in our core. And also, if our actions, our third chakra, is able to
line up.
Right. So if we say it, and then if we do it, this action strengthens the throat chakra. It allows it to vibrate in a more higher harmonized vibration, and which allows specifically, like we say, the pineal gland, one that some people say is being calcified by this, that, and the other.
Okay, hold the pineal gland. Remember, the pineal gland also has a glandular system where the tonsils, the wisdom teeth, and the appendix are involved with activating that pineal gland. Okay,
So this is vibrating harmoniously and high. The heart, throat is known for communication. It allows for effortless communication between the pioneer, the all-seeing eye, the Akashic records, and our heart,
Mm.
and our which feels it. And so that's why we're able to see and know.
Is that heart math science you spoke of?
No, this is
Even more than that.
this is the breath of life training, baby.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
Both.
the boat, the boat. And again, the activation, the action assists the throat chakra because it says, I will do this. And then once we act it and it does
Step
it,
out on the face.
right, it's like, oh, right. And of course, this action, we would not be remiss if we don't say that the solar plexus is standing on the shoulders of two of the baddest women.
Yeah.
Yes. And the boat is offset in Heteru.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, it's the root chakra and the sacral.
Okay.
That's the moon and Venus.
Oh.
The two feminine energies
Mm.
that this Mars energy stands on.
Mm.
Because digging, if the root chakra was just fear, if one is too afraid or too afraid, there would be no action from the solar plexus. No matter how much you want to do it, too afraid because that fear tends to, I'm afraid I can't do it. So you don't want to do it.
Okay, so fear, what sits on top of fear?
Worry.
And that's your
Sacral,
chakra.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you worry, you gonna do it. But just like when you're singing, you be some shaking in the voice,
Mm-hmm.
that unnatural vibrato, because it's a nervous vibrato, not because you. It's a. There's a difference. There's a difference. And so if that worry is there, you will act, but the act will be shaky. But if you're not worried, baby, you
So the heart gives you the energy to move past what the worry and the shakiness is from the fear.
not
You got
necessarily.
heart, put your heart in it.
Yeah,
Get to the heart of the matter.
yeah.
So where are we getting the energy from to move past? The heart and the mind.
This is where the official spirit coaching comes in, because it depends upon how one is wired automatically, like one zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is one wired to naturally acclimate towards?
Hmm.
So when you know that, then you can better identify if there's any resistance or challenges to creating your world. You can better identify once you know your wiring. Whether it be the zodiac side, whether it be an incarnation reading. How much about yourself do you know? Like some people say, like the four elements. We're more air sign, water sign, earth sign, and fire sign.
Okay.
And each one of those, they have a different.
Mutable earth.
Right. Child. Now we're starting to go deeper into the science of self, because all of those things plays into our uniqueness,
Mm-hmm.
which is why the art of sovereign living can only be so general, which really everything can only be so general, which is why we pull from general principles and create our own unique path, our own unique lifestyle from the general truths about reality. And we create our own uniqueness from it.
Okay. So the boat includes the planets or cosmology.
Yeah.
Does the boat also include numerology? Or what other modalities
Right.
might apply within the boat that
Yeah.
you're using energetically?
Okay. The Comedic Tree of Life is put out by Nefer Amen, Shechem and Shechem. Good things. Sarah Set Society, Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
So that Tree of Life, the traditional 7 chakra system. The seven major chakra systems. Not so much their association, except for there are 7 where they're located and their colors.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, what my person has done is we superimpose the deities, what we know about the deities, on the chakra system.
Mhm.
So whatever the seven major chakras is, it sees the seven major chakra system as the tree of life.
Does that mean if you're using these deities, which also associate with tarot cards, does that mean there is some tarot energy involved as well?
Yes. Uh, However, my person isn't as familiar with the tarot as it is with the zodiac,
Hmm.
which is why on the new moon, there's the new moon, there's the self healing using the zodiac, in which we look at these, whatever the full moon is exalting, that zodiac, it has a ruling planet. And that ruling planet is one of these seven major energy centers. And so
Okay.
that's how I would say the zodiac loosely,
Tropical.
tropical zodiac,
Hmm.
tropical zodiac, um, but not as much. But the Kemetic tree of life and the seven hermetic principles, because the seven chakras. So those two, the Hermetic tree of life, and the seven hermetic principles,
And the deities.
right? The deities with the tree of life,
Okay.
deities with the tree of life, the hermetic, seven hermetic principles, along with the very basic seven major chakra system,
Hmm.
right?
And the
Um,
breath.
and the breath, right? And up under that is loosely the zodiac system,
Now, I want to share something about the zodiac
right?
because Neil deGrasse Tyson, again, I've been watching some of his
Right.
shows. He talked about, because he had an astronomer come in and they were talking about, some cosmological stuff and how astronomy does not always line up with astrology. And as a matter of fact, does not most often because they see 13 moon cycles. And if the moon cycles is what the moon or the month is on, then our calendars don't line up with the
Yeah,
current position of the zodiac,
and
which
that's something.
there's a 13th sign, and I forget what it is. It's an interesting name. It doesn't seem to have the same source of names, but I think it's like the higher spirit or the power that keeps them all in position. It's like with that out of position, all the rest of it is, it's like a house of cards.
Yeah, my person personally sees that as the Jesus Yeshua
Mhm,
analogy,
mhm, mhm.
because there's 13 moon cycles. We can look at the calendar. It has the blue moon,
Hmm.
and
The pink moon we just had
right, and
2 days
so
ago.
and so for us to be acknowledging 12 months when there's 13 moon cycles, yet there's so much energy towards it. Yeah, so much energy is towards it. It has relevance. So some things we use as is. Something like say Jesus. We say Jesus
I mean, you're
sometimes.
just
Yeah.
basing it on the energies itself, not necessarily moon positions so each of those chakras has a certain type of energy, or even don't you associate them with a particular organ too?
Right, right. Well, for example, this past full moon, Scorpio. My person says Scorpio, and the sidereal chart it is a Libra. There would be Venus, but Scorpio is Mars. So it also depends upon again the tropical or the sidereal zodiac. So in the tropical, the full moon is in um, Scorpio. My person says that's Mars. That planet Mars correlates with the third energy center, the solar plexus. The solar plexus is Mars. The emotion is anger. The organ is the liver. So all these things tie in together with Scorpio, because Scorpio, from the ancient tradition, Scorpio and Mars both share the same. Scorpio and Aries both share the same planet Mars. Mars lives in Aries and Scorpio in the ancient tradition. And so this Mars energy in Aries is more the masculine because it's up front, it's in your face, it's
Mm,
action. Let's start some, let's do some shit.
right.
Where Scorpio is the more feminine because it's just as deadly, but you really don't see it coming.
But
It's
aren't
more
we in Taurus
soft
now?
and
Today's
so
the 26th.
yeah, because
We're in
it
Taurus now.
well
In that, because Aries kicked off the new year per se, and now we're in the beginning part of Taurus.
Yeah, we're just thinking about it. Is Aries and um, Scorpio both having Mars as the planet, not so much where
Mhm.
we are. And
So
so
it
yeah,
turns out that way. I see that. I see
right,
that.
right, right, right. Uh-huh.
So, but now Taurus, I'm sensing in this new, now we're in this energy right after the new year. Energy is starting to elevate as far as the energy heating up, the air itself heating up, the sun being more intense, and us getting more solarized. I feel the energy of things. Um, what I feel, because a bull in a china shop, I feel certain things being moved out of position so that other things can be moved into position. So I'm sensing that the goals that I set in the season of Aries, because Aries is about new heights and climbing the mountains, and it's used to being in those high heights, the higher elevations. It's almost like a light-headed place. They are always operating on that that level. So now that Taurus has come about, it's as though it's no bull. It's serious, and it's straight, no chase. It's cut and dry. It is what it is. You know, um, Deal with it. This is gone. This is no longer here. They're gone to their glory, or you've moved on and you've passed, and so now it's time to that. So now that position, that space, that place in your mind, your heart, your body, your system, your programming. Now you have a whole new space that you can fill. What else are you holding space for that you can now begin to position things to be put into its proper space that you've been holding for.
All right.
That's where I feel we are at the moment. Now I'm at the place of recognizing that I even held space for it because, I intentionally do things, and sometimes I'm recognizing the unintentionally done things as, once they start showing signs, then I have to recognize, do I need it? Do I not need it? Do I want it? Do I not want it? Do I want to handle it? What way do I handle it? And the art of my living, because love plus art equals wellness. I suppose that applies to, the way I live my sovereignty. Um, I artfully express my desires, and they artfully express themselves back to me in, their positions that I am able to scoop and roll, put into rotation. Mhm.
Yeah, it's just exploring. That concept about the Taurus and the bull. Uh, it was being revealed. Looking at from my person what it looks like coming from Aries, and this was is relatively new. And this sees Taurus, but the ruling planet is
I was going to say, take that sovereign supreme ruler.
Venus. Venus. And so it was saying, okay, we go from Mars to Venus from 3 to 2 in the chakra system. We were saying, oh, we go from the action, the springtime, spring into action.
Mm-hmm.
Things spring up.
Spring forward.
Okay, we got some action going on. Then we move into the being creative,
Mm-hmm.
stable and creative. Uh-huh.
Dance.
Yeah,
Movement.
yeah,
How you going to move?
yeah, because it's coming. It's coming. It's springing up. It's still springing up. So,
Dance to your own drummer's beat.
mhm.
Let's dance.
And
Dance
then
to
as
drummer's
Gemini
beat.
approach, we have to be more intentional on what we're gonna with our choices.
Mhm.
Because it's Aries here, and we creative. All this stuff is coming up. So what we're gonna keep? Because everything will be able to much. Because so it's relatively new, but good thanks for that because it's opening up a different paradigm as far as how the seasons flow. You know, I
And
was looking at.
soon you'll be in season. Your solar return is shortly after the spring.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of sovereign living and solar returns, we're
Oh,
counting down the solar returns. June 25th at 5:04 a.m. Alabama time,
mm-hmm.
specifically Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 1972 is when my person came out the womb.
Mm,
June 25th, 5:04 a.m., 1972, it came out the womb.
mm-hmm.
And so it is operating the art of sovereign living to say in the year 2050 under the Gregorian calendar year, at 5:04 Tuscaloosa, Alabama time a.m., June the 5th, my person shall return into the cosmic womb. Some call the ascension, rainbow light body. Poof, we're out of here.
That's 26 years from now.
26.
Mm-hmm.
On the 25th, it'll be 25. And counting down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So again, we feel this is a beautiful segue to, why the art of sovereign living. Because my person has the exit plan. It's it. We say, okay, we out of here. And not just when we out of here, when we leave. My person, I am a soul. I am who I am. I am a soul. I'm a soul that is expressing its uniqueness of the all through this person, and its personality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's all about. And so at some point of becoming one with the only thing that's higher than me, God, I'm my Father one, Yeshua, great thing. Becoming one so much with the inside, we become one with all things because the same source, the same portal, at least the source, the same black hole. Everything is energy, everything is light, everything is spirit. It comes from source. And we have the potential to realize that through our experience where we come from. And when we fully realize that with our experiences, there's nothing that's stopping us from experiencing whatever it is we wish to experience, the vibration. We don't have to wear the copper to see what the copper feels like. We simply become the copper, become the drum, become whatever. And so that's what ultimately for my person, this is the art of sovereign living. June 25th, 25th, and we shall go travel to Pleiades and then to Sirius on our way back to Arcturus. And we shall pop back in Earth from time to time, just to, starting here at the Temple of Mother Earth, we shall pop back. Physical body now to the Mother Earth. What's happening, y'all?
Question.
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to take on this. I know some of it, but share with you, please. At some point, because, you say return.
Yeah.
Okay. So the return part, I would say most of us, this is me, my opinion, are not from here. We're from somewhere else in between the creation part and the actual how we got here. There's something in the middle of that occupation of other globes or spheres.
My person came from Arcturus.
Right. That's what I've heard you say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So each of us, you feel, might have some energies that might simulate another location that we've come from as well.
Yeah.
And how do we incorporate that into our lifestyle? How do you incorporate that into your lifestyle? Is that a thought?
Not is similar to when some people get a genealogy done or family tree.
Mm-hmm.
You realize, oh, there's so and so in the bloodline, and then you may start gravitating towards that culture, towards that way of being.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Or it may confirm how you already feel, and you may even go, especially with a Native American, you may even go more so that way, or Yoruba or Ifa, things like that. So it's the same thing. Once you First of all, once you're open to it, you will start behaving differently because you're like, I'm not from this motherfucker. I'm from the came Earth.
In the first place.
Right. And then when you get the idea of the star system, and then it may resonate or may do a little research about, the nature of it, you'll be like, oh, that's why. Oh, it starts to resonate. And then because it resonates, you start to embody more and more of it. So it's a very natural process. Very natural process.
Okay, okay, because I didn't want to leave that part out. It seems like we are stardust. We are from the
Said that.
stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did speak on that in the beginning, but I had no, I did not connect it to the thought of, you know, and that we're not from here per se, and that there are some, between the creation of the Big Bang, or the fact of when we were stardust, or I don't know how that cycle per se, where the chicken and the egg come from, or which is first. I'm just saying that it seemed like in the mix, like you said, in the genealogy, in the
Yeah.
like we have going around this wall, the DNA, it's there. There's some remnants of the beings that are from other planets,
Yeah. hmm Yeah, and that's even bringing it a little bit more closer, like with the deity system or the chakra system or the zodiac. Because some people can look at people and say, "Oh, you so and so sign. That's your sign." It's a hit and miss. But some of them who are really understanding and know it can look past the sun, the moon, and the rising and say, "Oh, this is." They can identify your sign based upon your energetic traits.
Yeah, but it's a lot of influences, and to me, just now, what came to mind is that that's somewhat of a prejudgment, because we all express those in so many different ways, and like just by somebody saying, "Oh, that's a Virgo trait," and I have to think about that sort of thing. It's like, you know, am to what degree that you embody those things,
Okay.
you know?
So my person used the deity system, the tree of life, the same as the energy centers. So what happens is we fluctuate through them on a day or throughout the day. At the same time, we have our unique energetic signature from the all is aligned with what we call an archetype. And so one who was masterful, was a master or skillful in energies, can read the energies or know intuit the energies or be aware of. If you're aware of the archetypes, then you're aware of, okay,
Picking up on a certain energy.
right. And if there's, especially if there's a relationship, if there's a relationship, you can get an idea of the archetype by how they flow in their life, what they're drawn to, how they move, how they do things, because you know the archetype. And then you can see when certain things happen, how certain other archetypes will just, oh, like the whole Aries and Gemini and Aries. So when somebody gets mad, and you see how they get mad, how they get upset, and what they do as a result of it, you can say, oh, it's anger that's coming through this filter. They do it like a Scorpio does it. Scorpio does, Libra, everybody deals with these things differently.
So it's another way to categorize the energy.
Right.
Because to me, there's a spectrum of all these things.
Yeah.
Just how masculine or just how feminine,
Yes.
or just how
Yeah.
European, or just how Japanese, or just all these things to me have a percentage, because and contributing factors as to what you turn out in what sort of shape.
Yeah. The traumas, your portals, your parents, all this stuff. This is why
the atmosphere, the energy, the environment.
Yes.
Because I spoke to someone today, and he's an author.
Yes.
I think his name is English Bradshaw, or something like that.
Okay.
And his father, so senior and junior, are both authors. And he specifically, because how this whole conversation came up is Mama Aya was talking about, she's doing an event with Taraj P. Henson.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And it's on mental wellness.
Right.
And when I was expressing that to this gentleman, he ended up tying into that he has written books on mental wellness. And he was raised by a mother that was not mentally well,
Mm.
who was raised by a mother who was not mentally well.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
when he is to the place where he is, and I think that it was that far back. I know he said his mother, and I'm not sure if the father, but there's a lot of it around him that he felt influenced by. But he also said he thanked his mother for who and how she was because he was able to love her regardless through any and all that any potentially loving might come up. He was still able to learn what love is regardless of, the tone might be, boy, get in there and fix that daggone food. You ain't gonna not know how to fix no food. If you gonna be a husband that know how to cook. Now saying it like that comes off like he's being
Right.
scolded. But it's basically to encourage him to have a good habit of you better not ever you put your hands on a woman. As a matter of fact, you're gonna wait on her like she's a queen because she deserves it, and that kind of thing. I'm just saying your delivery, I'm not saying that, the mental wellness part of it is necessarily the biggest factor. The factor is of how the person interprets it, of what they're receiving. If you
Right.
can see through all of that, see the love in all of that, whoo, you know.
That's the art of silent living, baby. The
Mm.
art of silent living. To see God in all things. To see like God, have God's perspective. If you see like God, then you act like God. And you create like God.
You love like that.
You love like God. Bada bing, bada boom, chaka laka laka. And so yeah, we're gonna end like we began. And aside from the drum circle of the collage, it was spoken about the journey, and sometimes one person calls it like it can be analogous to a psychedelic experience. We speak about Time of the Earth earlier. This is, but aside from the 420, bring your own bud. You're invited to come, sit down as reason. However, there are other ceremonies that, maybe use mushrooms, bufo, combo, ayahuasca, other
Spiritual
plants,
journey,
other
medicinal.
other sacred plant teachers and,
Sacred.
and, and sacred plant medicine and plant teachers. So again, templemother.earth.org, templemother.earth.org. And again, so here, well, just leave a comment or something like that because just a little brief announcement about the spirit coaching. It was mentioned earlier about the spirit coaching and some of the philosophies, modalities, foundation of spirit coaching was shared here tonight. And ideally, just by showing up, participating, in essence, it's from soul healing. You're privy to free spirit coaching because this is really the essence of spirit coaching. And the oracle cards were also brought. So again, by showing up, one is maybe also privy to a complimentary oracle reading. Otherwise, if someone wants a private oracle reading or spirit coaching, leave a comment and we can schedule a private session. As an FYI, the spirit coaching is more of a, generally speaking, a more 3-month commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And the spiritual counseling is, half hour, 45 minutes, a session. And the spiritual counseling is just more of a, these little instructions, we'll hit. In fact, matter of fact, since we own this, let's just go ahead and share the four: the earth, air, water, and fire are the modalities of service my person has. Of the earth variety, certain things as copper and crystal tools, the wearable arm. They come in smaller sizes, crystals and things like that. So this is the earth. More like fast food. You get it and you go from the earth, copper and crystal tools. Then we have more of the water, the emotional side, with emotional darling. We do the heart touch therapy. We deal with the heart, the emotions, so that the heart is free and not weighed down by the emotions, which is the feminine. And also, there's a correlation on Mondays because we're dealing with food here at Temple Mother Earth. That's also Earth. My person facilitates that. So that's the Earth element. We have offer service at the temple that did with the potluck. We potluck nutritious food from earth. And we congregate and have discussions, integration sessions. So that's the earth. With the water, we have the heart touch therapy, the emotional body. And with the water session, with the emotions, we have the self healing using the zodiac, which we get together on the new moon, emotions. So that's the water element. That's our gift, our free gift. Again, we bring our cards and it's healing. And then we have the air element, the intellect with the air. And with the air, the intellect, that's more the soulful Sundays, and that's also more the spiritual counseling when you get a reading. It's the intellect. You just want to know something. I want to know how this adventure going. Or just want to know something real fast. You want to know something. Be in the know. We consult with the God for the readings. Soulful Sundays. Sit for hour and a half, something like that. We just want to know some stuff, connect some dots with the whoop. Then we have the fire, that spirit, the fire. And with that, we have the spirit coaching, and we also have the art of sovereign living. With the art of sovereign living, we get straight, no chaser, integrating. You are the cause of it all. You are it. You are it. This is a you are it meeting. This is a you are it gathering of why you're it, how you're it, and what are you going to do as being it. The art of sovereign living, spiritual coaching, spirit coaching at its best. So again, just come to the temple. You can get these things free. We got you, but just come to the temple to get these things free. Bring the cards with us. Or go to the private session, leave a comment. We got you in the private session. Tell the Mother Earth, I am it. We are it. You are it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And I am it as well.
Yeah, go right ahead. You got it.
Well, for me, I'm Precious Mother Love, from Love and Wellness. Ashe, Ashe. So I feel my website will tell you a lot about me. But let me tell you how you spell my company's name. Love plus art equals wellness. And the plus sign and the equal sign is being used. So LAW. And that's kind of how I relate to the art of sovereign living. I also have on YouTube Heart Happy Hour, where I talk about how I live a sovereign life artfully with the laws that I use, love and art. But I'm also listing my spiritual counseling on my website under self-healing because I use the science of self. Things that I learned I can share with you and hope that you can help yourself by using some of these applications. I've been helpful in healing persons that are that have had broken bones. I've helped people come back to their right mind. Suffering from mental illness or being challenged, their mental wellness being challenged. I've helped those persons to return to their per se right mind, but utilizing the energies and perspectives, and also applying a different diet of words and food. So food for thought as well for the nourishment of the mind, body, and soul. So love plus art equals wellness on all social platforms, including YouTube, Twitter, blah, 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 Facebook. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, the art of sovereign living with Precious Mother Love and High Priest, Master Ashe.
There you go.
Hey.
All right. Enjoy all of your creations and the best of thoughts to you.
I do.